Welcome to another Rolled in Reacts episode. The owner of this Opel Corsa had gotten a great deal on it at a local auction and came in for a post-purchase inspection. Maybe not such a great deal after all. The owner of this pickup truck was towing a giant metal garden gnome and decided to pass a car on the freeway when he suddenly heard a loud bang. This customer came in for an oil change, but the mechanic had some trouble getting into the car because of the one-of-a-kind lock system that the customer had invented himself. Customer states, seat feels uncomfortable during longer drives. Please advise. The owner of this Chevy Silverado wanted to lift their truck but was on a tight budget, so this is what they did. And this Lotus Elise came in for some engine repairs because it had a pretty loud knock after the customer had done an oil and filter change by themselves. Apparently, they had installed the oil filter with the plastic wrapping still on, which had caused the oil pump to fail and the engine to run out of oil. Customer came in saying, "My car has started playing theme songs from old Western movies. Please check and advise." The owner of this Volkswagen Golf came in saying, "Car feels a bit jerky at idle, but once on the highway, it goes away." This car was in for its first oil change in 44,000 miles. And this customer had done some work on their cooling system by themselves, but had to come in because the car had started to overheat. Apparently, the customer had connected the crankcase vent hose right to the radiator instead of to the coolant tank. And this customer rolled in with their car in a pretty beat up condition after a few birds had gotten stuck in the driver's cab for a couple of days. This fleet truck had been to another shop for a tire rotation, but had to come in again after the driver said the steering wheel had started to shake while doing 90 on the highway. Customer states, "I think I dropped the bass a bit too hard." This car managed to roll in on its own after the customer had driven over a metal beam at 80 miles an hour. And this car rolled in because the owner said that the brake pedal had started to feel mushy lately, even though they just had it in for some new brake pads at a different shop the week before. This car apparently makes its very own caramel drizzle. When your engine fan ends up looking like this, you probably floored it a bit too hard. And the owner of this car had their friend help them install some used calipers, but had to come in to get new ones, because they only lasted about 2 weeks. Customer states, always does his own maintenance work, but has been getting a burnt rubber smell recently and wanted it looked at. This Ford F-150 came in after the owner complained about a ticking sound that apparently gets increasingly louder as you accelerate. And this is what could happen if you accidentally drop stuff in the cigarette lighter that shouldn't be there while at the same time not having the correct fuses installed in your car. And the owner of this car had installed new shocks at another shop 2 months ago, but had to come in because he had started getting a rattling sound at higher speeds. The mechanic thankfully caught this one on time and spared the customer a giant headache. The owner of this Ford F-150 came in with quite the list of problems after they apparently hit a stone Spider-Man garden sculpture while taking a shortcut on an unmarked road. Customer states, did an alignment at a different shop, but now something's off. This car had been on a pretty muddy and bumpy road and had to come in for some suspension work. Customer states, there's a funky smell inside the driver's cab. Could possibly be the AC filter. Please check and advise. And this customer woke up one day and decided it was a great idea to decorate his car with aluminum foil because why not? Customer came in complaining about poor braking power ever since their younger brother had done some brake work on it 2 months ago. This customer rolled in with a power steering leak and some electrical issues after they accidentally drove through someone's private property the night before. This car was in for an alignment when the mechanic started hearing a meowing sound from underneath the car. The cat was alive and well and ended up finding its way back home. Customer states slammed the brakes to avoid hitting a cat on the road, but ever since, the brakes have felt different. Customer states dipstick handle broke off and fixed it with some hot glue, but now dipstick is stuck. Please advise. The owner of this truck had ordered a new light bar online and wanted to install it by himself, but he now had a starting issue and the light bar only works between 20 and 25 miles per hour. And this customer had hit a pothole and heard a loud noise, but kept driving until they heard an even louder noise and had to come in on a tow truck. Customer was in with their truck for some brake work when the mechanic noticed a pretty strange detail. When asked about it, the customer apparently said, "It's for aerodynamic purposes." Customer states, "Was driving home from work when I heard this loud bang, and then something came flying out the hood." Customer states, "Drove past a construction site and think I must have hit a nail or something. Could you check it out?" And this guy had just gotten a great deal for this car at a local dealership, but came into the shop a week later because the car had started running a bit rough, and this is what the mechanics discovered. Turned out that the car hadn't had an oil change in 75,000 miles. As good as new. Customer states, "Car runs rough at idle. Please advise." This mechanic was trying to turn off this old school generator for about 2 hours before he finally got it. Simplicity. And this car had some brake work done by a mysterious mechanic that some call the siliconator. And this mechanic didn't know he was gambling with pretty high stakes when he put this car onto the lift. This customer came in for a steering wheel vibration after his friend had helped him balance the wheels for free. Anyone want some homemade licorice goo? Customer states, "Car sounds like a Lamborghini tractor, that is." Customer came in complaining about their car leaning heavily to one side after they did some suspension work on it by themselves. And this car came in after the customer complained about feeling every bump in the road. And when you have more water than oil coming out of your engine, it wouldn't be too bad of an idea to go buy a lottery ticket. This car came in with some pretty interesting lug nuts. And this Ford Escape came in with a fuel leak after the owner had let his brother install a new fuel pump for him for cheap. This sedan came in because it needed some electrical work, but the mechanics kindly declined all repairs. This customer's car had made its very own bologna stew in the expansion tank. The owner of this car had done an oil change at a different shop, but had to come in because they've had a burnt smell ever since. Looks like the other shop did the oil change extra fast. Customer came in complaining about a vibration when driving on the highway, and this is what the mechanics found. This customer came in complaining about their car not wanting to start sometimes and wanted it looked at. I wonder what might be the cause. And this customer said that oil changes are a myth invented by oil companies, but he still had to come in because his truck had started running sluggish and the check engine light was on. This car came in looking like this after the customer had tried avoiding hitting a squirrel on the road but instead hit a speed bump going over 60 miles an hour. And the owner of this truck had a midlife crisis on a budget. And this is what happens when you install the wrong sized oil plug. And when your brakes look like this, you could probably make bacon and eggs on them. Customer states, strange rattling sound coming from back seat when driving at higher speeds. Please check and advise. And this guy had his own version of an underglow kit. And the owner of this car had tried replacing brake pads on it for the first time, but couldn't figure it out, so he had driven it to the shop, and this is the damage that his little trip caused. The owner of this car said that he had just bought it used 3 days ago and that he had let his friend take it for a little spin when they suddenly heard a loud crunk sound. The owner of this car had installed his very own homemade exhaust, but had to come in because the car didn't accelerate very well. Customer states, car started sounding like a tractor overnight. Please check and advise. This car rolled in after the owner said it had started to sound louder than normal lately, and this is what the mechanic found. This car was in because the customer had a clunking sound when pulling in and out of their driveway. This customer came in saying that their engine runs a little hot. And this car came in with some strange noises when going over speed bumps after the owner's son had borrowed it to go on a cross-country mini vacation with his friends. This guy came in with his car to get the wheels balanced, but when the mechanic told him he should probably get some new tires instead, he politely replied, "Thanks, but I only drive it when it's sunny out." This customer came in with their Toyota Starlet saying it had started handling like a drunk monkey trying to get up a tree. This car rolled in like this after the owner said his wife had hit a rock while driving on a countryside road. And this customer came in with a wobbly steering wheel after they had installed some new sportier lug nuts, but apparently picked the wrong size. And this car came in for an oil change when the mechanic discovered that the wheels were barely broken in. And this customer came in saying that whenever they try to shift gears, their car sounds like it's having a bowl of extra crunchy stone Fruity Loops. This car came in with a bit of an oil leak. Luckily, the customer came in on time to get it fixed. Something's not right here. This customer came in for some suspension work, but didn't say anything about how the car looked underneath. Customer states, unintentionally installed a lowering kit when I was out driving in pothole land. Please check and advise. This customer had built his own Porsche kit car, but had to come in because it had some brake issues and quite the list of other things wrong with it. This car was in for some electrical work when the mechanics couldn't help but notice the state of the wheels and tires. This customer came in saying, drove past a sawmill the other day on the highway and it felt like I hit something, but I didn't expect this. And this guy had gotten stuck in some mud with his car and floored it until he got onto pavement, but then heard a loud clunk. Customer states, hit a pothole last week and ever since, the cab has gotten noisier. The owner of this car apparently likes to do things himself and had decided to install a new fuel pump, but had to come in 4 days later because of a starting issue. The owner of this car had just installed some new tires at another shop, but nobody told him that he had bigger problems than that. This car rolled in with a pretty well done clutch. And this customer came in with some brake issues after they had taken it slow while driving down a mountain. The owner of this car had gone through 4 new car batteries in less than 3 months and couldn't for the life in him figure out what the problem was. He said that he installed a new sound system 6 months ago, but that it should be totally fine since he's done it many times before. And this customer came in saying that they had fixed their brakes at another shop 2 weeks ago, but that the brakes hadn't felt firm ever since. And this customer apparently had his own little mini garden in the trunk. Customer came in complaining about a steering wheel vibration and that their brakes feel weak and wanted it fixed. Turns out that they were missing a few parts. Customer states, yeah, I had a clunking noise for a while, but I had a beer and fixed it myself. And this customer got a new hitch installed right on time. And this ATV came in with a few problems. This vehicle came in because it had a couple broken fuel injectors. Customer states, "I can't tell how fast I'm driving. Please advise." This Honda CR-V was in for a post-purchase inspection after the customer had bought it for $2,500 from a guy on Craigslist. Customer states, "Hit a small hole in the road and now I have a growling noise when driving." Customer came in saying that they hit a badger on their way to their friend's house, and ever since, their truck had started leaning heavily to the right. Customer states, "Starting issues." Customer states, "Drop my lucky coin in one of the air vents. Please check and advise." Customer states, "Car idles and accelerates poorly and my gas mileage is horrible. Please advise." The owner of this car came in saying that they had trouble starting their truck one day, but that their neighbor, who knew a thing or two about electronics, had helped them fix it. But that they now had a strange burnt smell in the cab anytime the truck ran more than 5 minutes. This Kenworth semi-truck rolled in after the driver said it had gotten really heavy to steer. Turns out that someone had topped up the power steering fluid with sunflower oil. Customer states, "Installed new sound system and it worked great for a day or two, but then the car wouldn't start. Please check and advise." Customer states, "Floored it at a traffic light, but the car didn't shift into second gear and just kept revving until I heard a loud bang and then the engine stopped." When your transmission fluid starts looking like this, you're lucky to still have a transmission left. Said the steering wheel had started to shake while doing 90 on the highway. And this car was just in to get an oil change when the situation got a bit heated for the mechanic. This customer came in saying that every time they turn the AC on, it smells like a retirement home and it also doesn't get very cold. The owner of this car had installed a home-built exhaust system using some pipes and random parts they found in their garage, but was in a week later because they had installed it a bit too close to the fuel tank, which had caused a leak. This car came in on a tow truck and the customer said, "Someone stole my battery, I need a new one." Turned out that the battery was just hiding from the customer and simply needed to be recharged. Customer came in saying that their car has had issues starting ever since they borrowed it to their grandson, who went to see his girlfriend, who apparently lives down in Arizona. Customer states, "Wheels need to be balanced. Please check and advise." This customer had apparently designed and installed their very own anti-theft system for their classic Volkswagen. This wheel was holding on for dear life after the customer had hit a curb going a bit faster than usual. Customer states, "Had my car parked on the street for a few days, but now it pulls to one side when braking." Customer states, "Tire leak after they hit like a small lug nut or something on the road. Wants to make sure it's not too expensive of a job before approving repairs." This customer came in complaining about a small but strange noise at higher speeds and wanted it looked at. Customer states, "Was out trolling with my boat when the engine suddenly started to sound really weird. Could you check and see what it is?" Uh-oh. This customer came in to get a price quote on a totaled car they had purchased and refurbished by themselves. The shop owner told the customer that they should go back home and continue refurbishing it some more. This car rolled in after the customer said that it had started to handle poorly ever since they hit a pothole. This customer came in with their new project car that they bought the day before and wanted the mechanic to do a full inspection of it to make sure everything was fine. And this customer came in saying, "I think I might have actually gone too fast." Customer states, "Let my stepson borrow the truck for a week, but he came back with it on a tow truck saying he's sorry." And this customer came in saying that their truck had started handling like a nun carrying a fridge full of watermelons down a couple stairs. When finding the cause of your broken air condition is harder than finding a needle in a haystack. This customer wanted to top up their washer fluid but had mistakenly poured it into the coolant system, and this is what that ended up looking like. Fortunately, the customer came in as soon as he realized this, so there was no damage done to the engine. DIY waterfall coming in 3, 2, 1. The owner of this truck rolled in saying that they've been getting a thumping noise when going over speed bumps. Turned out that the bed was only held on with a single loose screw. The owner of this car had apparently rebuilt his engine by himself and came in to see if everything looked good to the mechanic. This customer came in saying, "Had to step on the brakes real hard to not hit a squirrel, but afterwards the brakes felt a bit tight." I'd have to agree. Customer came in complaining about his steering wheel feeling kinda strange after he had done some suspension work on it, all by himself. Customer states, "Hit a larger hole in the road and then I couldn't steer anymore." Customer came in saying that their steering wheel has started to feel heavier than usual the past week and wanted it looked at. "If it ain't falling off, don't fix it." This customer had installed some new brake calipers by himself, but had apparently misplaced the caliper bolts and had to improvise a bit instead. This customer rolled in saying, "There's this screeching sound when driving at higher speeds. Please advise." The mechanic found that the rotor and caliper had almost fused themselves together. Customer came in with their Volkswagen saying, "But a little rocking is normal, right? It's a diesel after all." This truck apparently had its own little private club inside the glove box. And this car definitely came in right on time for some new wheel bearings. Yep, looks perfectly fine. And this is apparently what a brand new clutch looks like when ordering from certain online shops these days. And this customer came in saying that the AC only works on one side but not the other. The owner of this car came in saying that the vanity mirror doesn't want to open. And this car rolled in because of a clunking noise coming from the back. Customer states, "Needed new wipers, but I fixed it myself." And apparently, this customer's favorite movie is Mad Max. And this car came in with a bit of an identity crisis. The owner of this semi-truck came in with one of his tires looking like this. Apparently, he had parked at a local gas station for the night and gone in to buy some snacks for the evening when he got into an argument with the owner and woke up to this the next morning. And this GMC Sierra rolled in with a handful of different problems after it had been parked on the sidewalk for a few weeks. And this customer came in saying, "No matter how much washer fluid I put in this thing, it's always gone the next day. Also, I've been getting a knocking sound the past few days. Please advise." This customer had let their son borrow their car to go on a weekend trip with his friends, but came in because now the car wouldn't start for some unknown reason. And this car apparently makes its very own fresh orange juice. Customer states, "Wife hit a curb going a bit faster than normal." This Chevy SUV rolled in after the customer said it had started to accelerate really badly ever since they let their buddy tune it for cheap. Customer states, replaced water pump at a different shop, but ever since, car has started to overheat. Please advise. Yikes. This car came in for some new shocks. Customer states, clicking sounds when turning. And this car came in for some new blinker fluid. This car came in needing some suspension work after the owner had used it to go camping with his new girlfriend over the summer. Customer states, every time I turn on the turn signals, my dash does this. And this car came in with quite the list of problems. The customer ended up having to get a completely new engine and drivetrain. Customer came in saying that they had just bought the car off Facebook Marketplace and had picked up one of their friends to take it for a little joyride when they suddenly heard a loud metallic noise followed by the hood flying open. This customer came in saying that their semi-truck's wipers don't work as they should after they had installed a light bar, all by themselves. And this customer said that she can't refuel her truck no matter how much she tries. Looks great. Yummy. The owner of this car had installed a new AC compressor all by himself, using a tie-down strap. This Mitsubishi was in because it had started to run really rough, but when the customer was asked when he last had an oil change, he just went, "Oh, I have a guy that does it for me every year for like $40 or something. I just bring him the oil and then he does it." Why do you ask? And this car had taken some swimming lessons together with the owner. And this truck was in for some new brake pads when the mechanic discovered this. And this customer came in saying, "Hit a squirrel on my way to work and now my wheel makes a weird sound." The owner of this car came in after they hit a curb a bit faster than normal. Wait, what? Customer states, wobbly steering wheel when driving on the highway. Customer came in saying that their car wiggles and rocks a lot during acceleration after their grandson had driven it for a couple of months while they were visiting some family abroad. This Hyundai Accent rolled in because it had started to overheat after it had been parked in a sketchy neighborhood for a couple of days. And the owner of this car had fixed an oil leak with an epoxy. And the owner of this car had fixed their brakes all by themselves. This customer came in after they failed a safety inspection test. I wonder why. Customer came in complaining about their forklift feeling unstable when lifting things off the shelves. Customer states, drove through what looked like a small puddle, but turned out to be a clogged manhole without a cover. Please advise. This customer had lent their car to their grandson, but got it back with quite the clunking noises when turning and pulling into the driveway. And this car had quite the leaking problem. Well, there's your problem, sir. Customer states, car handles like a boat full of potatoes. And this customer came in asking for some new blinker fluid. And this car came in because it had started to feel sluggish, said the owner. Customer states, strange noise whenever I go over bumps. Please advise. Sparky Sparky. customer came in complaining about a ringing sound when driving over speed bumps. This car came in with a bit of a leak. This groundhog apparently wanted to make this customer's car its own. Thankfully, it ended up being fine and was released into a nearby forest right after this was filmed. This car came in with some brake issues after the customer had parked the car on the street for a few days while they were out of town. Looks great! If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like and subscribe for more. Thank you for watching, and until next time.